Hey, thanks, host, and welcome to another week of Now You Know Sports. I'm Creighton.
And I'm Joe.
And this week we are talking college football. We're doing a recap here of our favorite games of the year, our favorite and least favorite.
Yes.
We're going to start off with our non-BC games. So, Joe, what was your favorite non-BC game this year?
All right, well, even though it's supposed to be a non-BC game, I'm still talking about being an Eagle.
It's all good.
Notre Dame versus UConn. The 4-yard run by Andre Dixon in overtime to give UConn the 33-30 victory in overtime on November 21st didn't only bring tears to Notre Dame fans, but it brought tears to UConn fans because after the game, they dedicated the win to Jasper Howard, who, as we all know, had a tragic.
He passed away this offseason. And it was a really important win for the UConn Huskies. Now, my favorite non-BC game was a little earlier in the year. It was actually week 1. It was Labor Day weekend, September 7th, and it was the University of Miami Florida State game. Now, that game, if you don't remember, was a 38-34 final score, and that was Jacoby Harris's first big game on the national stage. And they had a string of 4 games in a row against top 25 opponents. And I remember he had a really good game that day. And, luckily they didn't win the ACC, but it's nice to watch them.
This is true. Now, talking about that first week, I'm going to bring up my least favorite game.
I think I know where you're going with this.
Although I don't really care for either team, the Oregon-Boise State game really bothered me. First of all, the score was 8-19. Oregon lost, which sparked LeGarrette Blunt.
I think so.
I hate this kid's name.
And his actions as well.
Because, first of all, he punched the Boise State player it was a sucker punch, which I don't agree with. But the way the NCAA handled it was just ridiculous. I think they should have punished him for a couple games and then brought him back and let him prove his.
Especially since it was his final season, he can't play anymore at this point.
Which is it bothers me. I'm sorry.
It's very unfortunate. Speaking of unfortunate things, my least favorite game not involving BC was the Clemson-Florida State game. Now, this was November 7th, and the final score to this game was 40-24. And this is back when we thought we had a chance still to make it to the ACC championship game. But Florida State ended up doing nothing against Clemson, and C.J. Spiller ended up putting the game away for the Tigers. And this game kind of cost us a trip to the ACC championship. Now, what was your favorite BC game this year?
First of all, who doesn't pick College Game Day? I mean, College Game Day coming to Boston College, it was just amazing.
Especially Chestnut Hill, beautiful rainy day.
Rainy day. I personally did not wake up early for it, but I did get to the stadium 3 hours early. Yes, 3 hours to sit front row, which turned out to pay off because ended up on ESPN, which was pretty awesome. But the more important thing was that in the preseason, FSU was ranked 18 in the country, and BC was predicted to finish last in the ACC. Then BC proceeded to beat FSU 28-21, and now we've finished
second in the Atlantic Division.
Second in the Atlantic Division. And where's FSU?
I think they're closer to the bottom, losing their head coach too.
No,
they're definitely not.
Oh, okay. Well,
it's a little awkward.
Shows you how that goes.
Can't talk to those preseason voters at this point.
What about your favorite BC game?
My favorite BC game was the week before. It was the BC Wake Forest game. Now this one went to overtime, and it was a thriller for the parents who were there for Parents Weekend. And if you remember, this is when Riley Skinner fumbled the ball on the 1-yard line in overtime to seal the win for Boston College. And I remember going crazy after that game because I was a little tense.
Yeah, well, the fact that we could give up 14 points with 5 minutes left, but they just wanted to make it exciting for the parents.
And to be honest, I'm glad Riley Skinner's a senior and graduating. I'm done seeing him.
Seeing him lose.
Yeah, exactly. Now, what was your least favorite BC game?
BC versus UNC on November 21st was like a dagger to the heart. We lost 13-31, although we did play better than the score would show, but we had 6 turnovers.
And those ended up bearing
You
us.
can't win a game with 6 turnovers. But what really got me was next week, UNC lost to NC State 28-27. And what happened to NC State? We beat them like 54-12 or 20 or something.
Well, it was
like
good.
that.
It was good. Tom O'Brien got a win, but
embarrassing.
it's unfortunate we couldn't have beat UNC.
And then Clemson loses to South Carolina 34-17, and it shows you that one little change could.
We could be going to our 3rd straight ACC championship game.
But of course, things happen, and we finished 2nd in the ACC, which is better than finishing last, which we were predicted to do. So
show them who's right.
Now, what about your least favorite?
My least favorite game was an away game. It was the Boston College Notre Dame game. Now, final score was 20-16. It was close. We had a winning drive going. Things just didn't work out. It was a shame just to see the streak end like that. Now, we're supposed to play them next year, so hopefully we can start a new streak then, but it's really disappointing to see that streak end in South Bend.
It is. I mean, we definitely dominated the decade, so it was a little upsetting to see
I saw some
that
T-shirts
happen.
with that slogan on that. I like that.
Yes, yeah. Well, anyway, remember, we are
BC.